We got a bunch of random stuff this week. We're talking Raw, we're talking Smackdown, we're talking the push to Elimination Chamber, and so much more right now. It's wrestling with fans. What is good, YouTube? What is good, everyone? Welcome to this week's edition of the Wrestling with Fans podcast, a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans from a fan's perspective. My name is Kyle. This is episode 225. Lots of random things. Didn't really have anything specific I wanted to touch on in this week's episode. There's just a lot of stuff going on, and I thought now would be a good time to just kind of talk about some stuff. Talk about what we saw on Raw, talk about what we saw on SmackDown, and talk about that push for Elimination Chamber. Because I don't want to talk about WrestleMania, because WrestleMania is still just the three matches we talked about last week. Roman and Cody, or whoever the champion is versus Cody, Charlotte versus Rhea, and then Bianca versus the Elimination Chamber match winner, which we're going to talk about later on in the show. So, not a lot to talk about wrestling wise, so I don't want to waste a lot of time on that stuff. I do want to touch on Raw. Let's start with Monday Night Raw. Let's start with how Raw kind of went. I mainly want to talk about that Cody and Paul Heyman promo, and I'm sure by this point you've heard every analyst or every podcast or YouTube channel have an opinion, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I just want to say how absolutely amazing that was. You know, you have Paul Heyman, who is consistently one of the greatest mic workers in the history of the business. And then you have Cody Rhodes, who I think for a long time wanted to have promos like that with someone, but he wasn't allowed to have them in his first WWE run. As, you know, bashing Cody Rhodes, Stardust, of course. Obviously, he's not going to have him with Stardust, but... And then in AEW, I don't think he was ever paired with someone that could pull off those kind of promos. Now, they have some that I think can pull them off. You know, Chris Jericho, MJF, definitely MJF. That might be about it. As far as like those very serious, you just buy into every syllable that comes out of the mouth kind of promo. MJF and Jericho to me are the only two really in AEW that, in my opinion, let me know if you think so differently down in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. Let me know who you think could pull off these kind of promos with Cody, because anybody else he was paired with in AEW, I didn't see it. I didn't see them having anyone that he could really sink his teeth to when it comes to, you know, these kind of promos. But him and Paul Heyman together, man, that was some good stuff. You know, getting personal, bringing in, you know, Dusty, the ECW stuff that he did very briefly, you know, where Paul got Dusty out of a bind, you know, financially there for a minute. The stuff with Steve Corino, which I did see on TikTok, someone put it together, the Heyman and Cody promo, and then the Corino and Cody promo. I want to say it was from ROH, I believe, when he brought that up. But it was so cool to kind of see it, you know, Cody doesn't forget. But, yeah, I thought it was great. And Cody did the smart thing by putting over Sami Zayn. He's not going to win the hearts of the crowd by overlooking what Sami could pull off at Elimination Chamber next week or in a couple weeks, which, let me double check the Elimination Chamber date, because I don't remember. It's the 18th, so it's a week. It's a week from Saturday. So next week's episode, it'll be an Elimination Chamber review, so looking forward to that. And, you know, I think that, you know, Triple H has been smart with trying to do two storylines at once, because obviously the money match, I talked about this last week, no matter what you feel about Cody or the Sami storyline heading into Elimination Chamber, the big money match is Cody and Roman, and we all know that that's coming. But WWE has been able to still tell a story with Sami where you think, man, maybe Sami has a chance here. Maybe Sami could pull off the massive upset of Roman Reigns. We'll get Roman Reigns against someone else. We'll get Cody and Sami at WrestleMania. I don't think that's the case. I can guarantee that's not going to be the case. But it's just like they're still able to pull it off. And Cody putting Sami over, saying I would love to face Sami at WrestleMania, is smart because it keeps the crowd behind Cody. They're not going to turn on Cody if he overlooks what Sami could do. And I think with that promo with Paul, and then with what we ended up seeing on Smackdown later in the week, I think they're really setting the stage where some people might start questioning, does Sami have a chance to topple Roman? And I think that's great. And I think that's the best case scenario for WWE right now, is to allow people to believe that Sami has a chance, to get them invested in this story. I can almost guarantee it's not going to be the ultimate blow off. I think that'll be much later this year. But just so they're not overlooking the whole Sami thing, which has been the best storyline in wrestling in the last year. The whole Sami Zayn and the Bloodline has been the best thing going for the last year, and Triple H and his creative team are doing a really good job of trying to keep people invested in the Sami Roman storyline and not turning on Cody. And I think they've just done an amazing job so far. But that's just my 2 cents on that one. Now let's transition into Monday Night Raw. I don't want to talk a lot about Monday Night Raw, but I do want to point out a couple things that I really, really enjoyed. First off was the opening match, Damian Priest and Angelo Dawkins. There's so many people that had all their money on Montez being the breakout single star. And I'm still under the impression, that's still my feeling, is that Montez is the breakout star. He will be the breakout star of the Street Profits. But I tell you what, Angelo Dawkins' match with Damian Priest was absolutely amazing. Dawkins proved that he is just as capable a worker as Montez Ford. And I think working with someone like Damian Priest, another larger guy, I think really showed a lot of Dawkins' strength. They were allowing him to showcase his individual talent and not just what he brings to the tag team scene. And I just, kudos to whoever produced that match, whichever producer worked on the match with those two guys, because I thought it was amazing. Priest obviously picking up the win. He's going on to the Elimination Chamber, which again, we'll talk about that later. Lacey Evans had a squash match with a local talent, whatever. Then we get the tag title match, Strowman. Oh, wait, no, sorry. That was SmackDown. How did I end up with SmackDown? Here we go. Dexter Lumis and Baron Corbin was next. Somehow my tabs got switched and I was looking at SmackDown, but we'll talk about that later. Dexter Lumis and Baron Corbin had a short match. Lumis beat Corbin. JBL is now done with Baron Corbin, so I'm wondering if we're going to see trash Corbin again, if we're going to see unhappy Corbin again, how this is going to go. I'm intrigued. I'm not a big fan of Baron Corbin. I haven't liked this recent stuff that he's been doing with the happy and down on his luck. I don't know. Something about it I'm just not a fan of, but I'm curious to see what they do next. Then we get a fully reunited Hurt Business. Alexander and Benjamin taking on Chad Gable and Otis. The Alpha Academy picking up the win in a short match. Asuka beat Chelsea Green in about 2.5 minutes, and I love this character that Chelsea Green is doing, this whole Karen character. I love it. She's really good at it. I think it fits her talents very well, but I don't think she should have lasted more than 30 seconds against Asuka. That's just my take. Then later on, we get the last qualifier match, Montez Ford versus Elias, and I don't think anybody felt Elias was going to win this match, so Montez Ford is moving on. Then we finally got the long overdue cage match between, Becky Lynch and Bayley. Becky picking up the win in 15 minutes. Of course, Damage Control getting involved. And then we get the return of Lita. So I'm very excited for that. And rumor and innuendo, rumor has it, is that we could be seeing Trish Stratus come back this coming week on Raw to set up a 6-woman tag between Becky, Lita, and Trish versus Damage Control for Elimination Chamber. I would be very excited to see something like that. By the time you listen to this show, that might be the case. But overall, I thought Raw was excellent. I was thoroughly sports entertained for Monday Night Raw this week. I thought they continued a lot of good stories. I'm not going to talk about any of the backstage stuff. We're just talking matches stuff here on this week's show. But overall, I thought Raw was just absolutely excellent this week. But before we dive into Smackdown and some more Elimination Chamber stuff, let's take a pause to go over the social medias here on Wrestling with Fans. Be back in just a minute. Let me just interrupt myself here for a quick moment. First off, thank you for checking out Wrestling with Fans here on YouTube. If you're enjoying what you see, make sure to leave a big old thumbs up and click that subscribe button down below. The other ways you can help support the show is to follow us across all of our other social medias. Check us out, facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans. Hulk smash that like button to keep up to date with everything going on here with Wrestling with Fans. Or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Wrestling with Fans. Check us out on the web at WrestlingWithFans.com. New audio shows go up every single Sunday at midnight. Or you can take us on the go and download us to your favorite podcast, the listening device. You can get us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. We are on all the major platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Wherever you get your podcast fix, you can find Wrestling with Fans. Last but certainly not least, comments, questions, feedback, topics you want covered on the show, shoot me an email, wwfshow@gmail.com. Again, that's wwfshow@gmail.com. Links to everything are down in the video description and down below, so make sure you check that out. Without further ado, back to the show. All right, guys, and just like that, we are back here in studio. One other quick note I want to point out. Switchblade Jay White did lose a loser leaves New Japan match this past weekend, so for all intents and purposes, he is a potential free agent. Now, will he go to AEW? Will he go to WWE? Will he resign with New Japan? That is what we are all kind of wondering, but I'm sure that wherever he ends up, he'll make a definite impact. I do like Switchblade Jay White. He is awesome. But let's talk quickly about SmackDown. I don't want to spend a lot of time on SmackDown, but we did get the awesome stuff with Paul and then including Sami Zayn. And I think, again, they've done such a good job. I'm just going to repeat what I said a few minutes ago. They've done such a good job to run both these storylines concurrent with each other that they're not overlooking Sami. They're making Sami seem like he has an actual chance to upset Roman, and I think they are really telling such a good story that way, and I'm excited. The promo with Sami and Paul was great. Sami coming through the crowd, interrupting Paul, basically saying, I'm going to take him down. And we got a lot of backstage stuff throughout the night, including Jay and Sami interacting backstage, and I'm really curious what next week brings, because next week is the go-home edition for Elimination Chamber. Roman has ordered the Usos to stay at home so they can see things that they might not normally see while at the event, because Roman watches the show, guys. Roman watches the show, so I'm really, really curious to see how this plays out next week and into Elimination Chamber next Saturday. Really looking forward to it. Really short match to open. You had the Banger Bros, because WWE doesn't own the internet. Drew and Sheamus defeating Ashanti the Adonis and Top Dollar of Hit Row in a short match. Lacey Evans defeating a local talent, Carmen Harris, in 2 minutes. Then we get the SmackDown Tag Team title match, Ricochet and Braun Strowman against the Usos. Jimmy coming out and then Jay making his entrance through the crowd to be there for his brother. They picked up the win in a pretty fun match in about 13 minutes. Then we had a tag match. Liv and Raquel Rodriguez defeating Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville in about 4 minutes. Then we had the fatal four-way to determine who's going to face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio, Karrion Kross, and Madcap Moss all went at it. And Madcap Moss won. Who? Madcap Moss won. Of all people, if you put your money on Madcap Moss, you probably made out like a bandit, because there's no way anybody thought Madcap Moss would win this match. The match was decent. The biggest takeaway for me is we need a proper Rey Mysterio Santos Escobar feud, please, before Rey hangs him up. Him and Santos need to have a feud. I think it would be absolutely amazing. But of course, Rey still got to finish up with Dom at some point. After SmackDown went off the air, for those in attendance at the Mohegan Sun Hotel and Casino in Eukinsville, Connecticut, they got the New Day defeating Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio in a dark match, and then Bray Wyatt defeating LA Knight in another dark match as well. We didn't get any dark matches when I went back in December. We just got the Kurt Angle continued birthday celebration. We only had the one dark match before the show went on the air, so good for them for getting a couple of dark matches after the fact. But that was SmackDown. I thought SmackDown was pretty good, and I'm really looking forward to this week. So if you're listening to this later in the week, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do for the go-home editions of Raw and SmackDown leading into Elimination Chamber, and I'm sure we'll get some more matches announced. But speaking of matches announced, let's talk about what we know for the Elimination Chamber. And my music's not playing like it's supposed to. There we go. Alright, guys, we have the Elimination Chamber taking place this coming Saturday, February the 18th, from the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And as of this recording, so I'm recording this on Sunday like I usually do, we have 4 matches. Now, I'm sure we're going to have more announced on Raw and SmackDown this week, and I'm going to talk about that one match. I think we'll get, if the rumored innuendo was true, Trish will make an appearance on Raw, or they'll make an announcement. It'll be Damage Control versus Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. And I think that would be an awesome 6-woman tag match. I could even see another tag match with the Usos defending against the Raw tag titles against somebody, maybe. I don't know. Could it be Gunther versus Madcap Moss at Elimination Chamber? I don't know when that match was supposed to take place, but it might be on SmackDown. It might be at the Chamber. I don't know yet. But right now, as I'm recording, we have 4 matches announced. Of course, the one everybody is anticipating the most, Roman Reigns defending the undisputed WWE Blue Universal Championship against Sami Zayn. And what I don't believe will be the culmination in this story. I think it's going to go past Judgment Day. Past Elimination Chamber. It's going to go past WrestleMania. I think Sami's going to get another shot at Roman down the road, but he's going to have to go through the rest of the bloodline to do it. I think they're going to take a page out of MJF and AEW's book, because every MJF feud has someone having to run the gauntlet to get to him. And as much as I would like to see that, even though it is kind of copying a lot of what, AEW's done for every MJF feud since he's been there, I would love to see Sami go one through the bloodline. I would love to see that. We also had a mixed tag team match announced. Husband and wife team Edge and Beth Phoenix, 2 WWE Hall of Famers, going against the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. No Dominic, which is interesting. They're going to go with Finn and Rhea. Definitely Finn Balor's taking the pinfall here if Judgment Day loses. They are not going to have Rhea lose going into WrestleMania against Charlotte at all, but I think that should be a really fun match. And then both Elimination Chamber matches are over on the Raw side. We have, the first one is a women's Elimination Chamber match to determine who will face the Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania 39, which right now is Bianca Belair. We have Asuka, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya, and Carmella going to go at it in the Elimination Chamber. My money is on Asuka, but I could also see Raquel Rodriguez if they wanted to try to build her up. I don't think she's hot enough to be able to pull the trigger on her. Carmella is up there, Liv, a former champion. They could always do that. But my money is on Asuka to go on to face Bianca at WrestleMania. I think that's the best match you can get from these 6 ladies and Bianca going into Mania season. And then the final match we know of right now is an Elimination Chamber match for the WWE United States Championship. And I think this is just going to be a fun. To me, this could be a potential match of the year candidate. It could even be the best match on this show. I have a feeling it's going to be the best match on this show. You have Austin Theory defending the U.S. title against Seth freaking Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. This match is going to be absolutely fire. For anybody who has not seen these guys on the main roster, seen what they can do, go back and watch some of the North American Championship ladder matches from NXT with Gargano and Reed and Priest. And it's going to be amazing. I really think this could be a match of the year candidate if these guys are allowed to do what they do best. So I definitely think this is just going to be a fire match. I'm really looking forward to it. I think the plan for next week's show is to have my buddy Rick back on. I think we're going to get together and watch the Chamber this coming weekend. So be on the lookout for that. Also, coming down the pipes in just a month and a half, March 29th, is the 5-year anniversary for Wrestling with Fans. I'm trying to put together a fun show for everyone who's a fan of the show. We'll probably do a live stream for it. It may not be the official podcast that week, but we're definitely going to do a fun stream or video or something for the 5-year anniversary. I'm working on getting some names for that. Anybody that's ever been on the show, we're going to try to get them back here. So that's the plan, and I'm really looking forward to it. You know, a month and a half away from 5 years of Wrestling with Fans. It's crazy to believe. I've been back doing this show again for 5 years after doing multiple podcasts over the years for about a decade, and then taking some time away and then getting back doing podcasts again. I love it. I love doing the YouTube stuff for you guys on YouTube. And I'm just looking forward to it. But before we check out, let's do one more pause for the cause. Make sure you follow Wrestling Fans across social medias, guys. I'll be back in just a moment. I'm here for a quick moment. First off, thank you for checking out Wrestling with Fans here on YouTube. If you're enjoying what you see, make sure to leave a big old thumbs up and click that subscribe button down below. The other ways you can help support the show is to follow us across all of our other social medias. Check us out, facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans. Hulk smash that like button to keep up to date with everything going on here with Wrestling with Fans. Or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Wrestling with Fans. Check us out on the web at WrestlingWithFans.com. New audio shows go up every single Sunday at midnight. Or you can take us on the go and download us to your favorite podcast, the listening device. You can get us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. We are on all the major platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Wherever you get your podcast fix, you can find Wrestling with Fans. Last but certainly not least, comments, questions, feedback, topics you want covered on the show, shoot me an email, wwfshow@gmail.com. Again, that's wwfshow@gmail.com. Links to everything are down in the video description down below, so make sure you check that out. Without further ado, back to the show. All right, guys, I appreciate any love support. The best way to support the show is go to all the links in the audio description or in the video description down below if you're watching the YouTube video of this. Follow on social media, like on Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to us on your favorite podcast listening device. Wherever you get your podcast fix, just go to Wrestling with Fans Podcast. If you want to know where you can get the show, if you're over at WrestlingWithFans.com, click on links, and it'll link all the major platforms where you can just click and instantly subscribe to the audio show. And, of course, links to the YouTube, Instagram, all that other stuff. Follow us on social media. I'm getting over 500 downloads a week on the podcast and getting no feedback. Would love to hear from you guys. Email, DM through social media, comment on YouTube videos, anything like that. Make sure you are doing that, reaching out. That's the best way to help the show at this moment. Is just follow us on social media to help spread the word of Wrestling with Fans. Also, real quick, just want to say thank you to everybody who's checking out the brand new Fig Friday videos over on the Wrestling with Fans YouTube channel. Getting some decent views. A little more than I had been on some old shows. Right now, there are 5 Fig Friday videos that I believe. 5, yes. This past Friday, I did the Undertaker. I did a 2-for-1 Undertaker unboxing. You can check out where I unbox the ringside exclusive WCW Tag Team Champion from SummerSlam, Undertaker, and also Undertaker's Greatest Hits Volume 1 figure. Both of them are really, really cool. I was really excited to open them up. I also did the casket play sets, which they are setting back over here in my little filming area. I did the big accessory bundle from Ringside Collectibles. It's been the popular one so far, so thank you all for checking that video out. I did the actual ringside haul, which has all these figures, because there's a huge stack of figures over in the corner back here. Still a huge stack of figures I've got to go through for the channel. I did some John Cena's. Here's one of them here, the top picks. The other ones I've already kind of put away for right now. But we got some John Cena love over on the channel. And then the one that's been posted in the recent history, Karrion Kross Elite 85, has been done as well. So this is such a cool figure. Even though he's got hair, he looks really weird with hair. I like him without hair. I like the bald look. Plus, there's some awesome videos, some reviews, old podcasts, some Funko Pop stuff, some Hulk Hogan Elite stuff, figure reveal video that's from a while back. But there's all kinds of cool things over there. All things wrestling. You can get your video podcast. You can get some toy unboxings. I am hopefully going to be picking up 2K23 when it drops around WrestleMania season to do some live, fresh content on the new game. I want to get some WWE 2K22 content out before the life cycle ends, ultimately here very soon. But yeah, just want to say thanks everybody for all the love and support so far. We're closing in on the 5 years of Wrestling with Fans. I am very, very excited to the next chapter, because I've been working on some things behind the scenes. Maybe do a rebrand, change up some logos and some looks. You can see I finally got my lights up here in the studio. Got my Taker stuff flag. I mean, there's some stuff here. I'll kind of give you a live look in, because you can see my figure unboxing area down here, the casket play sets, the stack of figures, my little filming rig right there. So I've been doing some cool stuff working here in the office. I've changed my display up behind the camera. I'll do another video for that at some point as well. I took down a lot of my figures that I don't want to display, and I got like a Star Wars Black Series up on the very top shelf, and the next two will be some WWE and AEW figures. So I'll do a cool video about that. And then just chilling here on my desk. Before we go, of course, we must, as always, acknowledge him, your tribal chief, your head of the table, Roman Reigns, the undisputed Universal WWE Heavyweight Champion of the world. That's all that I have, I think. I did pull up one thing here at the end of the show. This is mainly going to be for you YouTube viewers. So, one thing I've always wanted to do, and one of these days I'm going to get to it, is do Tales from the Yard. Talking about some old backyard wrestling stuff I have on film. Now, I don't have a lot on film, but one thing that I have always kept, this is a replica ECW World Heavyweight Championship belt. It's the Taz belt. It was the BCW originally at one point, and then it was the XRW Championship at one point throughout my backyard wrestling career, and I still have this belt 25 years later. I still have this belt. I'd like to display it. I mean, it's beat up, it's old, it's scratched up. One of the little things on the bottom is broke. I'd like to try to glue that back together if possible. But cool piece of memorabilia I brought over here to the new house. I'm going to display it at some point. I don't think I've shown this on stream or on video yet. But shout out to my BFF, Jason, who was able to meet WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hart. He picked up this cool little artwork. It's like a blacklight, I think, artwork. Man, I've got it framed. I've got it sitting here. Just need to find a good spot for it here in the studio. But yeah, just some new stuff going on here at Wrestling with Fans. And I've been working on some stop motion stuff. I'm going to post some updates about that. I've done some Taker. I did some Edge stop motion. Johnny Gargano, Triple H. Getting ready to work on a few new ones, including Matt Hardy. So be on the lookout for that. Some cool things I've been working on, playing around with here in the studio. But I've done wasted enough for y'all's time. that is going to do it for this week's edition of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Again, episode 225, some random things to talk about. Make sure you tune in next week. It will be a full Elimination Chamber breakdown and review. I'm really looking forward to talking about the Elimination Chamber. I think the plan is to get Rick back on the show next week. I'll be in him very shortly. It's Super Bowl Sunday, so by the time you listen to this, you'll know who won the Super Bowl. I won't, because I'm going to be asleep. I'll never stay up to watch a game, because I'm a Cowboys fan, yes, and I'm sorry. But anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you all so very much for watching. Thank you all so very much for listening. Once again, my name is Kyle, and I'll see you next time right here on Wrestling with Fans.